Hey, morning everybody. So this morning I actually stopped training. It's roughly about 7 a.m. right now. It's starting to get a bit bright, which is pretty cool. Now there's one thing we have to do this morning. Let me show you. So there's the hose. We actually have to hook it up through the septic tank to empty the trailer this morning. Trying to actually get it done without touching the phone. I am wearing some plastic gloves, but still, I kind of hate doing this. Septic tank, and all I gotta do is just pull this out, and you can actually hear the water. So we got the water cleaned up. We drain it down the septic tank. Takes a good 15-20 minutes to do it, at least every second or third day. We're done with that, but I'm actually looking forward being a nice hot day so I can actually start cleaning the front of the trailer, so we can actually make a nice spot to sit down and get the fire going, at least hopefully by tonight. Hopefully it stays nice and sunny. As you can see, it's starting to get quite bright. Cut the grass a bit. And if it stays sunny for the next couple days, we'll actually start working on the roof. We're gonna remove the old roof and actually install a new one. Hopefully it'll hold for the winter. But right now we're gonna get ready and go down to town. They actually, on Fridays, they have a farmer's market. It's roughly about 30-minute drive. Hopefully they get some eggs and meat and whatever else they have for the season. But first thing we're gonna do is get some water, put it in the filter, get it going, and we'll head to town. This is one of my favorite places to come down and hike, and for fishing as well too. Very calm and very beautiful area. This place here is roughly about 30 minutes away from my main location. This is where most of the sockeye fish is caught. This place is so beautiful, so calm and fresh. It's just an amazing place to actually spend almost all day here. There's some canoes as well too for rent. Check it out, look how clean and clear this water is. It's so amazing. So we are heading home right now. We're gonna go back into the trailer and probably do some cooking for the night. We're gonna actually do a carb load meal, and we'll show you how much carbohydrates I tend to consume in one evening. And usually this is only done once a week to refuel your glycogen levels. So we got about 3 cartons of eggs. These are pasture raised. The farmer that I know, they own 20-acre land, roughly, just chicken. Check it out. They're actually pretty good size and they look good. I got double yolk in 1 egg. I'm gonna do about 4 eggs here, but we got 5 in total. And we're gonna have about 8 ounces of salmon. That's gonna be my first meal of the day. Guys, so as you can see, I try to keep it as simple as possible being on a carnivore diet. As you can see, we got some wild cured salmon. You got roughly about 7 to 8 ounces. We have probably close to about an ounce of Roquefort blue cheese, and we have about 4 eggs, and one of them actually got 2 yolks. So that's all I end up having. I do not add any additional fats, nor I care about having a ratio 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 anymore. Especially if you are looking to trim down. As you can see, I tend to go a little bit more lean. Now, keep in mind, I still get the fats from the fish and the cheese and the egg yolk, but not as much as before. So keep it as simple as possible, as long as you're satisfied. But one thing for sure, try not to overeat. This is really, really good. Yolk just a tiny bit overcooked, but as you can see, it's not as orange as the ones I had the other day. But they still taste pretty good. Also, in addition to the salt, I did have one question from one of the audience today. How much salt do I consume? I try to keep it as simple as possible. Maybe max, with me curing the fish and putting some on top of the food. I give it roughly about a tablespoon, sometimes half a tablespoon. I try not to consume too much, as it does tend to throw off your sodium potassium ratio, and sometimes you'll end up getting more of a regular heartbeat, and sometimes you get a lot of cramping. That's because your potassium is quite low. And being on a carnivore diet, not eating lots of plants, you tend to go a little bit deficient in the potassium, so therefore you become quite sensitive, unless you overeat quite a bit of beef, which is I don't recommend unless you're pretty much a healthy person, right? As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do my cooking for my carb load for tonight. So one of the ingredients is 1 cup of white flour rice. In addition, it's gonna be every 1 cup of white rice is gonna be 5 cups of water. Also, we're adding about 2 tablespoons of raw honey. This is roughly about 1 and 2. So make sure this is actually running on a low to medium heat. Continue mixing the water and the rice and the honey till it becomes a bit thickened. This usually will take about 10 to about 15 minutes. When it's done, we'll actually put it in the fridge for the night. It's been about 4 minutes now. As you can see, everything is mixed, but still a bit liquidy. We're gonna give it a few more minutes till it becomes a little bit thick, but don't stop from stirring or else the rice will stick in the bottom. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit thick. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought, It's been roughly about 14 minutes, almost done. Probably a couple more minutes. Usually around this time I would lower the heat all the way to the lowest, just so I end up burning the bottom, but continue stirring for probably another 2 minutes or so. I think this is ready right now. So as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and place it on top of the pre-cut bananas I already have done previous, just so we can add a little bit more carbohydrates, a little more sugar. I think this is gonna be ready in a minute. So this is exactly like rice pudding. Usually I do it with milk once in a while, but this time we're just gonna do it strictly with water and honey. There you go, I think it's ready. So let's just pour right on top. And as you notice, I only put 2 tablespoons of honey. You can put more if you want. It depends how sweet you want it. This method here I've been doing for a while. I have it set roughly about 3 grams per 1 pound of body weight. Usually when you're doing carb load, you can play anywhere between 2.5 to about 7 grams per pound of body weight for the carbohydrates. So you decide on that based on your body weight, based on your energy for the week, how much you want to utilize. Sometimes I go a bit more while I'm actually out here, just because I tend to burn a bit more than living in the city. There you go. Let it sit in room temperature for at least a good 10-15 minutes, then place it in the fridge. And usually when I place it in the fridge, within about an hour or so, when it actually becomes a little bit dry on the top, I would cut up a little bit more bananas on top if you want, and drizzle some honey prior of eating it. So we got pretty much the whole front cleaned up here. There was quite a bit, and it looks pretty decent right now actually. Compared to what it was, it's nice and clean, which is really good. There was quite a bit of horsetail. Okay, I'll wait for a couple more days till they actually dry up, then we can actually make a fire. Also, I've noticed on my kayak, you can see there's a crack all the way across here, another one here. It's kind of disappointing, and on the other side too, and you have another one there. I'll actually have to get a heating gun, heat it up and try to seal it. And there's another one here, which is disappointing because I was hoping to go fishing the next day or two, but you have to fix this first. We got quite a bit of wild thyme. Check it out. It smells so nice. This actually goes really good with some eggs. So it's roughly about 4 p.m. We've done a lot of cleaning in front of the trailer, around the creek as well too. We got the water running a lot faster than before. Just going up to the trailer right now. I'm about probably a few minutes away. And this would be an ideal time to start the training before we ingest any of the simple carbohydrates. Now this is very, very crucial that when you train, you actually have to push yourself to the point of fatigueness. Whether you're doing 3 sets or 4 sets, every set try to hit failure. Take about a 3-minute rest and continue. I'll probably share with you guys at least one good exercise, and this way it gives you an idea how I do it. Then we'll proceed with the simple carbohydrates, and we'll talk a bit more here about why it has to be simple, just so it doesn't create any type of inflammation. So there you go, there's the top peak. We're roughly about 1,200 feet above the trailer. This is where we actually collect our water, and it just follows the stream all the way down. And we actually have this bucket with a 2-inch hose, so it creates enough pressure to reach down to the bottom. And as you can see, I cleaned it up this morning, got it going, so the water is flowing a lot faster than before, and that goes all the way down to the bottom. Look at that. It's an amazing view. Right behind me there's the water. That's how we actually collect the water. We'll actually do a hike here in the next couple of days. We'll go all the way to the top. If you get a chance in the next couple of days, we'll maybe do a quick hike up that mountain. We'll probably get to a quarter of it. It does take a couple hours actually. But these trees are massive. So as I mentioned earlier, make sure every set you hit failure, or else the program doesn't really work properly, nor is gonna benefit you, especially when you're doing the carb load such as we're doing today. Hit it failure, so therefore your muscles are almost shaking. I'm gonna share with you guys one exercise as discussed, and we'll show you how it's done. There you go. You hit the full range, all the way to your lowest range of motion till you're fully fatigued. And that's how you should do it. Even if you're doing it with the free weights, do your best to do the same as well. In addition to your training, you don't have to do 15, 20, 25 reps. Pick a heavy weight you're comfortable with and try to hit 8 to 14 reps. If you can exceed more, that means your body's willing to lift more. Right now, since I am working out with the bands, with the resistant bands, it's tough to increase the weight. So what I do is I try to kind of step on it to give it a little bit more resistant, or or more like feels like I'm lifting heavier, just so I'm not attempting to do too many reps. So definitely do that, and give it a shot. Ideally, I would like to see reps between 8, no more than 15. So it's time for that carb load, and this is what we cooked earlier. Look at the consistency, it's just perfect. We got the white flour rice, and of course we got the bananas right on top, and we actually have it right on the bottom. Super delicious. It could use a bit more honey. I did put 2 tablespoons, but if you want it a bit more sweeter, you can definitely add up to 3 or 4. It's up to you. So when it comes down to simple carbohydrates, the only reason I do that, not any type of other carbohydrates such as complex, because the simple carbohydrates will actually spike your insulin quite high, anywhere between 7 to 9 millimolars, and actually drops back to normal stages within under 6 hours. If it does exceed that 6 to 8 hours, it will actually end up causing inflammation. So if you end up consuming complex carbohydrates, it does last anywhere up to 10 to 12 hours. So you could wake up the next day, check your insulin levels, and you'll notice it's still as high as 7 or 6.8 millimolar, give or take. So this has been tested over and over again. So go with simple carbohydrates such as white rice, sweet potato, ripe bananas, any type of resistant starches as well does work. And do this once a week to actually refuel your glycogen levels. If you cannot digest as much as 2 cups or 3 cups of uncooked rice, which is it could yield up to like 9 to 12 cups of cooked rice, then definitely break it down to twice a week. Could be Wednesday and Friday. In addition, if you do have any questions in regards to these simple carbohydrates, definitely leave them down below in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.